way you need to go. Keep your wits about you, take your time, and make sure to look out for those signs. Okay, I think it's time we check out the west side of the bay. Now, here again, leave yourself plenty of time because there's a lot to see. When you get about 15 miles south of the Metro Mobile area, keep your eyes peeled to the left and you'll spot Alabama Port. Now, by nature, Mobile Bay isn't very deep. It only averages about 10 feet. So back before we had modern dredging equipment to dig out the 75-foot deep shipping lanes, the really big deep water ships would dock here where the water was still deep to load and unload. Then smaller ships would take the goods back and forth to Mobile. It's still an active shipping port, even though a lot of those big ships now go all the way into Mobile. Our destination is Dauphin Island, a barrier island that creates the western edge of Mobile Bay's mouth. Right at the eastern tip of the island is where you'll find another important piece of military history. Fort Gaines sits directly across the mouth of the bay from Fort Morgan, the one we visited on the east side of the bay. Both forts were strategic military outposts during the Civil War, the Spanish-American War, World War I, and even into World War II. If you really want to explore the military history of the two forts, spend a few dollars to take the ferry from one fort to the other and check them both out in the same day. I was really impressed with the nature conservation efforts on Dauphin Island. There's several bird sanctuaries, including the 164-acre Audubon Bird Sanctuary. What most people don't realize before they come here is that Dauphin Island is the first landmass encountered by thousands of birds when they migrate north from South America. They can stop here and get a little rest before taking off on the next leg of their flight up north. Another must-see on Dauphin Island is the public aquarium known as the Estuarium at the Dauphin Island Sea Lab. That's where we literally ran into Robert Dixon, the manager, on his day off. Talk about dedication. Rather than make an appointment for an interview on a normal work day, Robert says, "Why wait? Let's do it." And what a wealth of knowledge he is. First off, let's get some definitions. You know, these are big words here, estuarium and sea lab, and tell me what that all means.
Well, estuarium is a combination between estuary, is where all of the shrimp, seafood grows up, and aquarium. So estuarium is what we make out of those two words.
If you look up estuary in the dictionary, it'll say things like a marine habitat, or a body of water with rivers and streams flowing into it, or an open connection to the sea. Basically, a transition between a river environment and an ocean environment. They can go by a lot of names, like harbor, lagoon, sound. Here in Mobile, it's known as a bay, Mobile Bay, and it's huge.
It's the fourth largest drainage basin in the United States. 42 billion gallons a day come down the Mobile River system, and that's on a normal day.
And your facility here basically explains the biology and all of that entire drainage system.
Yes, it does. And what we talk about is we talk about the Mobile-Tensas River Delta, Mobile Bay, Barrier Islands, and the nearshore Gulf of Mexico. So we cover it all, and it's an educational facility.
And when they say educational, they mean educational for all ages.
So we have programs, actually kindergarten through PhD. So there will be school children down here. There will be PhD researchers. We have 13 PhD faculty researchers that are studying everything from things in the Antarctic all the way to Alaska.
What are some of the things, if somebody doesn't live in the Mobile area or on the coastal area, what are some of the things that people might find unusual to learn about this area?
Well, when people see Mobile Bay, They see it as being brown, the water being brown. They think it's polluted. It's not. That's just sediment, and that's what drives the whole ecosystem around Mobile Bay and makes it such a good habitat for shrimp and fish and crabs. And Mobile Bay is one of the biggest providers of seafood for the United States.
Wow. And that led to my last question. You don't serve like any fish sandwiches in the back room or anything?
No, not today.
Well, they may not have fish sandwiches in the snack bar, but the Dauphin Island Sea Lab and their estuarium are definitely worth the extra drive if you're anywhere near Mobile Bay. There's another must-see spot on the west side of Mobile Bay, and from what I've read, it's seen plenty of fish sandwiches. At least in its early days, that is. It started out as a 900-acre fishing camp, just a little weekend getaway spot for a wealthy family from Mobile.
The Bellingraths were the first Coca-Cola bottlers here in the Gulf Coast Mobile area.
Mr. Bellingrath may have been into fishing, but the wife was more into gardening.
Over the years, his wife started bringing down camellias and azaleas and filling the property.
She started bringing plants from their home in town, where they already had beautiful gardens. So beautiful, in fact, that the locals would circle through the private drive just to enjoy the view. In 1927, just after the couple returned from a tour of famous gardens in Europe, they decided to hire an architect to help them plan their own world-class garden. Between 1927 and 1932, there was continuous gardening and landscaping work going on here.
So much so that word had gotten back into town, and when there was a national gardening show in town, they opened it up, and 4,000 people showed up that first day in April to see what was going on down here.
The huge number of visitors caused traffic jams on what used to be quiet country roads. And from that day forward, the Bellingraths decided to open the gardens and welcome people in just like they had in town. Folks fell in love with the 65 acres of manicured beauty, and rightfully so. By then, there were 40 gardeners caring for thousands of plants along vast stretches of stone pathways. One of the things that Mr. Bellingrath was adamant about was preserving history and maintaining the local flavor of the gardens.
There are pathways with limestone, and those stones actually were originally ballasts on the trading ships coming from England. In their second life, they were sidewalks in downtown Mobile.
With so much time and attention being spent on the gardens, the Bellingraths decided to make it their permanent home.
More and more time was spent down here to where they actually built the home, which was completed in 1936.
When you see the home, you know this spot had become much more than just a weekend fishing camp. 15 rooms spread out over 10,500 square feet. It seems bottling one of America's favorite soft drinks had treated the Bellingraths pretty well. The home's filled with all the fine furnishings that Mrs. Bellingrath collected, as well as thousands of pieces of fine china and silver. My sympathy goes out to the person who has to polish all that. There's something interesting to see at Bellingrath no matter when you visit.
We're known for 3 major seasons. Our azalea season, we have over 250,000 azaleas along the pathways. We also, in November, have one of the nation's largest outdoor cascading mum displays. And then we're also known for our Christmas display, Magic Christmas and Lights. We have over 3 million lights, 13 theme scenes, and almost 1,000 custom-made set pieces.
And you don't want to miss the narrated sightseeing cruise down the Foul River on the Southern Belle. Well, obviously, I didn't know the Bellingraths, but I do know that they were kind enough to let people drive through their gardens in Mobile, and then open their formal gardens here to the public. So I was even more impressed when I heard this.
Mr. and Mrs. Bellingrath had no children, so when he had his 80th birthday, he announced that he created a foundation that would keep the gardens open as a memorial to his wife.
Now I think that deserves a toast, maybe with one of Mr. Bellingrath's own products. The next time you're thinking Mardi Gras, head to Mobile, Alabama, home of the original Mardi Gras. And while you're here, take in everything the area has to offer. Hey, till next time, I'm Jim Barnett. Gotta go.
If you have a destination idea for Jim, or you want to check out other episodes of Jim Barnett's Gotta Go, head to jimbarnett.tv.
I love to travel, but there's no place like home. Hello, Peoria.